First thing we fire Woody, and then we hire Knobloch. Bring in Paul Coffey, then goals against us stop. Illusions that someday we'd be in the fight. Now it's playoffs, and this is game night. And that's when it dawned upon me that this is a serious team, and there ain't no doubt tonight we'll shut them out. Oilers will hoist Lord Stanley. Oilers will hoist Lord Stanley. Oilers will hoist Lord Stanley.
Just for you, Oiler fans, on this Friday for Nelson Holmes. It's the Sports Cage. Thanks for tuning in or watching the stream at sportscage.com. It's Barney Shynkaruk, the Caesar, with me today. We got a show for you. If you like hockey, you're in luck. If you like football, you're in luck. Rider fan, in luck. Old Rider fan, 07 Grey Cup, you got it. Thanks to Dallas from Nelson. Let's just play his renditions. That was Hoist Lord Stanley. You can find it at Dallas from Nelson online. Anytime, play him there. Oilers, Calvin Pickard, eh? Who would have thought? Guy by the name of Calvin Pickard. Guy's going to win the playoff MVP. Watch. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Leafs are advancing. Sens fans, the one couple out there in Regina, so close. We're going to hear from Brady Tkachuk in a second as well. Luke Mullinder joins us in about 4 minutes' time. We'll talk Riders. We'll talk draft with Luke getting into rookie camp right around the corner. Kerry Joseph, former Saskatchewan Roughrider. What an interview. Looking forward to talking with Kerry. He's now with the Texas Longhorns. Steve Sarkisian. Hour 2, Farhan Lalji joins us. A little clutch performer action. The Prairie Golf Gems report, our first one for Flooring Superstore. We're looking at the Waskesiu Golf Course. So if you're a golfer, you're a fan, you want to know what's new in Waskesiu, some big news up there this year. That's in Hour 2. Hour 3, Eric Francis, NHL insider for Southie Mainline Chrysler. Like I said, Oilers advance. You know how much we got to go on that today? Improbable. Down two games, and then they win 4 straight. How is Quentin Byfield feeling today? In Game 4, a chance to clear the puck. That changed everything. 936-6262, Prairieland Rentals text line. Husqvarna days are on right now. 20% off blowers, chainsaws, trimmers, 10% off mowers. You get to deal with the owner, 600 Albert Street, since 1986. If you're an Oiler fan, what do you think? Are you the cocky Oiler fan? We're going to the Cup. That's it. Or like one I talked to at lunch that's like, now Vegas, it's going to be hard. Are we deep enough? Ekholm's not back. What side are you on? And Leafs fans, please text in. Speaking of delusional fans, how are you going to match up against the Florida Panthers? I want to know that as well. So much to get to. Always welcome, 936-6262. Let's take our first quick break, and then Luke Mullinder standing by. We'll talk some Riders. CFL Draft. It is the Sports Cage, streaming at sportscage.com and on 620 CKRM. This guy's a busy guy, so let's go out in the Western Pizza guest hotline right off the bat here. Western Pizza, all the Greek favorites you like, and the pickup specials. Call the nearest one to your location. Luke Mullinder from our Rider broadcast team. Let's go. Go Leafs, go. Go Leafs, go. Or what are we doing?
I was about to say, I came on the air. I heard you rambling on about the Oilers who lucked out against the crappy LA Kings. I can't wait to beat the Panthers this year, boys. We're going all the way this year. I can feel it.
What do you want to wager that they don't get by the Panthers? A meal at Western Pizza? Are you confident?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, pizza and beer at Western Pizza.
You got that, Colson?
Yep.
Write it in the book,
Oh, I
please.
can't wait. I'm gonna make sure I go on a 42-hour fast before I take advantage of that. Perfect.
All right, man. What do you think? We could talk draft. We have to go first. Yeah. Third round, Curtis Rourke. You like that pick?
I love that pick. That was an awesome pick. I was surprised he was there in the third round. In a draft where you always take one or two guys that you think are going to be back in a year or two, I thought he was going to go way higher. I swore a team was going to. I mean, you may as well. It's a developmental draft, right? 1 through 7. All those guys are pretty close in terms of talent level, right? I think that the main sort of difference between some of the guys, obviously the kids from the U.S. colleges come coached a little bit better. No offense, there's just more resources, right? And 24/7 coaching in college in the States. So I love the pick. I think that they're going to see him eventually. You've got Trevor Harris. You've got a couple guys in the background now to continue to develop. You know, obviously Trevor's not going to be around for the next 5-6 years. Curtis Rourke might fall into your lap here when there's a gap. And I think that the only thing that concerns you if you're a Saskatchewan Roughrider, you know, you're in the front office of coaches, is just, okay, let's hope he gets enough reps to stay sharp in the NFL, right? Like, let's hope he's just not buried on the practice roster for 2 years and never gets a look in exhibition season, right? Like, you've got to get some reps at some point.
When you look at it, and from what you know down there, and like you said, reps and where do you fall and who else is coming in and all that, realistically, Luke Mullinder thinks 3 years, maybe 2 years.
Yeah, I'd love to see him in 2027, right? You know, it's the NFL is so different because you get picked, and if you're not in those first 3 rounds in the NFL, right, you're not a guy that's guaranteed to be on the team just because of the signing bonus size, you know. And we tend to think in Canada that if a guy gets 50 grand up front, you know, in the American draft, we tend to think that that's a big deal. That's pizza change to some of those guys, right? So you got to keep it in perspective. I just hopefully he gets on a path to where, right? Because ultimately we never see him, right? That's probably what's best for Canadian football is if this guy goes and becomes an absolute stud in the NFL and goes and wins a Super Bowl, right? We're always looking for that next Jesse Palmer guy, right? Yeah. So I'm hoping he goes that route. But if he comes back to Canada, the sky is the limit here. We're looking. You got to remember, Barney, this league is looking for faces of the league. There is very little. I get Bo Levi Mitchell, but man, we're like hanging on to a thread for Bo Levi Mitchell. We're hanging on a thread to Vernon Adams. We don't have a ton of faces in the league right now, right? Yeah. So, and I think that that's probably why a guy like Ed Hervey would say something crazy like there's no superstars in the league. Realistically, Ed was playing in the league when there were faces of the league and superstars, right? So I kind of saw where he was coming from, even though there was no diplomacy there in actually commenting on it. But again, hopefully this guy comes to the Riders and is the next big thing and wins us a few Grey Cups.
Let's just be badass, Luke, and let's just go with Sean Lemon as our face to the league. Guy gambles. He's got illegal substances in him. Let's just go that route, maybe. Just kidding, obviously, everybody out there. Hey, Ali Saad, first-round pick, Bowling Green, big defensive lineman. I know you love that pick.
I love the fact that they again for another year they got some guys in the trenches. I think that with the depth in on the defensive front right now, Canadian wise, you do need to draft a couple guys, and I was really glad to see that they took Hoskins as well in the 5th round. But yeah, Ali Saad is a guy that can come and right away press for playing time. But also one of the things that I can guarantee you is now we're going to get the best Charbel de Beer, we're going to get the best Lake Corte Moore, and we're going to get the best oh man, can't believe his
Baldonado?
Marion. We're going to get the best Marion, right? Like, again, it was funny. I remember a coach told us in a locker room the Canadian kids need to see their competition, right? And this is the best thing for him. You see Ali Saad taken in the first round, 4th overall. You are now going to get peak Charbel De Beer, peak Lake Corte Moore, peak Marion, and that just elevates the competitive element of training camp. It's awesome. I thought it was a great pick.
What do you think about 2 Saskatchewan Huskies, 2 Sasky boys, right?
Oh man, I mean, anytime you can get the Sasky boys going, this is a community-owned team that's always good to see. University of Saskatchewan, one thing that you know is they're coached well, right? And I believe we got another weeb on the roster right now, don't we? He didn't play very much for us last year, but again, I think that
Nick,
I think that this draft really addressed like, hey, the acknowledgement that there's going to need to be some depth developed, especially in the Canadian positions, especially with the way the roster is kind of playing out right now, right? Where you've got Tavon Campbell back, where you've got some guys that can continue to play that safety spot. We always have Canadian wide receivers on the field, so it was a nice draft in terms of just creating some depth options and pushing other guys. Because that was the other thing too. I mean, this wasn't a draft where the Riders needed to find just a guy who's going to make massive impact. They've got a really, really good roster. We got to keep in mind that this is a team that went to the Western Final last year and then brought all their core guys back. So it was a team that could draft with depth and development in mind, specifically more than in past years.
Riders released, or they put out a release today, this afternoon. Peyton Collins and Jake Levengood. Collins 6'7", 301. Man, was out of size. And 6'4", 294 for Levengood. Both offensive linemen. They've signed, coming to camp. It seems like we were talking about here before we went on. It's like, what are we looking at for offensive linemen in camp this year? I feel like we're going to have 40 to 50 offensive linemen alone, Luke.
Well, based on last year, you kind of need 40 or 50, right? I think, again, not enough people are talking about the job that Jeremy O'Day did getting offensive linemen in here, and then the job that Edwin Harrison did to prepare the guys to get on the field in such a fluctuating atmosphere in terms of our starting lineup for the offense line. It's great to see. I mean, and those aren't the last 2 guys. I mean, it's been consistently through the offseason. JO has been bringing these guys in. And yeah, you're right. There's a couple dudes that are big as buildings, and hopefully they play like it.
6'7", 301. Yeah, Edwin Harrison, I feel like he's walking down the hallway, just letting, the guy whipping out the bills. It's all good. What a crew and what a job there. But we saw it last year, the problems that we can get into. Camp around the corner, is there like one thing that you are just like excited to get to Saskatoon to watch and see? Maybe one person?
Yeah, no, you know what? I'm actually not excited to see one individual. What I'm excited to see is I think that very early on, I think that it's going to be a significantly different camp in terms of atmosphere. I think it's going to be a different expectation. Last year, Corey Mace came in, and I think that he recognized the need to really sort of gel the entire organization, right? And that was a starting training camp process. He wanted to get certain guys in the room. Guys had to learn. The guys that were there that were good, they had to learn the new expectation, right? We're starting to build a culture here this year. I would really hope that day one, we're starting fast, we're attacking, right? Because again, this is not a team that needs to be in the wait and see what happens type of mode. Like, let's go get a Grey Cup. Let's be aggressive. So I'm really anticipating that we see a heightened level of intensity very early on. They're gonna have to manage, obviously, with a little bit longer break until they get competitive, right? Maybe they take that week where they have the green and white game right off the bat. Maybe that becomes a little bit more competitive. But again, I would really anticipate this team coming out and approaching camp like, hey, man, we got to move quickly. We got to be in and out of drills. We got to have an intensity and energy level that matches the expectation for everybody in the building. And I think the expectation is probably getting to that Grey Cup.
I'm looking forward to seeing Jamarcus Hardrick and how he looks out of the gate. Kay, I know you're excited for Taverna up there as well, but just in closing, you got the Leafs, I got the Panthers, Western Pizza on the line. We're doing appetizers too. Appetizers are in play, right?
Yeah, of course. What, you think I'm fasting for 48 hours just to eat pizza? No,
Okay.
man, I'm taking the left side of the menu. You're coming out of that signing bonus they gave you when they gave you the SportsCage seat. I'm taking all that signing bonuses and we're spending it on pizza. Yeah.
That was a bag of cans, and it's long gone, my signing bonus. So, all right, buddy. Have a good weekend. I'll catch up next week.
Yeah, man. Cheers. Enjoy the weather. Good to talk to you guys.
Right on. There's our color commentator on our Rider broadcast, Luke Mullinder. Yeah, he's you can tell he's revved up, and again, likes the Rourke pick. Glenn Suter yesterday loves the Rourke pick. I like what Winnipeg taking Elgersma as well. I think he might come, and that's what the data. If we're gonna do that buzzword, if you looked at it, not drafted Canadian, he probably plays in the league before Rourke. So both good picks. And then, like we talked with Glenn yesterday, 2 U of S Huskies. Rams taken, right? Just Sasky guys taken in the CFL. It's good stuff. Okay, buckle up. We are a couple minutes away. We're going to go to break, come back for a quick hockey recap, and then Kerry Joseph, former Saskatchewan Roughrider. It is a Sports Cage, streaming at sportscage.com. Craig JP basically saying on the text line the Oilers are going to the Stanley Cup. All right, we'll hold you to that. They got a tough series coming up against Vegas. Only one game in the NHL tonight, Winnipeg, St. Louis. Very interesting. Winnipeg, we talked about it yesterday with Munzie. Without Scheifele, Ehlers probably not playing. It'll be an interesting watch anyway in St. Louis tonight. Western Hockey League, last night, Spokane, they wrapped it up. They beat Portland 6-4. They win the series 4-0. Shots were 45-43. What year is it? The hockey is just so wide open. Get this one. Spokane scored 30 goals in 4 games in that series. They take on Medicine Hat. First game Friday in the Hat. Second game Sunday if you're going to Medicine Hat. Used to go there for cheap alcohol. Can't do that anymore. Maybe just go for the golf and then head back in. Stop in Maple Creek as well. Friday in the Hat, Sunday in the Hat, WHL final. I don't know. But the way both of these teams are scoring goals, what's the over-under in goals if they go 7 games? 100? Unreal. Sask Rush in action this week in Halifax, game 1 of their semifinal series, best of 3. Randy Bryden's team, they won their quarterfinal against Germany today, curling, World Senior Men's. They take on Finland at 4:30 today. Blue Jays, how about them? 4-2 over the Red Sox yesterday. They're going to the World Series. They host the Guardians later today. A lot to get to. Ticker time for extreme hockey and sport. Anything you need, spring hockey, baseball, lacrosse, umbrella marketing can also help you out at Extreme Hockey and Sport. Rider fans, especially if you're a Rider fan in 2007, you're going to be thoroughly entertained. He's now with the Texas Longhorns coming up after the break. Kerry Joseph on the Sports Cage, streaming at sportscage.com. Hammer that subscribe button on YouTube. And always on the home of the Riders, 620 CKRM. Welcome back to the Sports Cage on this Friday. Back out on the Western Pizza guest hotline. It's Friday. No one likes cooking on Fridays unless you got a sweet barbecue. But still, grab yourself a Western Pizza or any of the Greek favorites that they make. The salads, the ribs, souvlaki, all that stuff. Let's go out. And we teased it. Talking to former Saskatchewan Roughrider Plaza of Honor member Kerry Joseph is with us today. Kerry, thanks so much for making some time in Austin, Texas. Is that where you are?
Well, actually, right now, I'm actually back in Chicago, waiting for the movers to come to grab our things and to get us moved down to Austin. So probably within the next 48 to 72 hours, I'll be back in Austin.
So, University of Texas, special assistant. You're into the college ranks. Hey, Longhorns, what a franchise, what an organization down there. Why the move back to college for you?
Well, for me, it was an opportunity after I didn't get a chance. I didn't get hired by any NFL teams through the hiring cycle. So, I wanted to be coaching somewhere. Didn't want to have to sit out a year. An opportunity came and presented itself at the University of Texas with Coach Steve Sarkisian and his staff, and I really jumped on board with it. Great organization, great university, good football team with some great players. So it's just a great opportunity for me to stay in the game and just work around some great coaches.
Sarkisian, obviously, a little cup of coffee with the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Did you guys know each other a lot before this opportunity comes up?
We actually didn't. We knew of each other, but we didn't know each other. Now in college football these days, they have general managers. So I knew the general manager, and he brought my name up to Sarkisian, and he was on board with it. So it's been good. I had a good 5 weeks of spring ball, and now I get a chance to get myself and my wife moved down to Austin, Texas.
It's a lot different since the last time you were involved in college, I'm sure, especially since you played at McNeese. The transfer portal and now the NIL. How do you describe how much that's changed, especially with a big school like Texas?
My last year was 2019. I coached before I went to Seattle, and they didn't have NIL. The transfer portal was different. It has truly changed. It has a big impact in the way recruiting takes place now. It's almost like free agency, and you have opportunities that if guys are not happy in certain places, they have a chance to go somewhere else. So it has a big impact on the game of football. And when you have some universities that have more resources, they have a better chance of grabbing players. I think where the people that get hurt is the smaller universities when you don't have the budget to hold on to your guys. That you get a good guy and he has a great season. You struggle to hold on to that player. So that's who really gets impacted by the NIL and the transfer portal.
Is it a lot trickier to coaching as well? Because you go back to your playing days, right? Where, now it seems like if if an athlete doesn't like the way a coach looks at him, he can go into the portal.
Yeah, that's you got to be very weary of that and know, what type of coaching that kid can take. Not saying that you have to go soft on the kid, but it's just nowadays in the generation, college, NFL, you have to really build a great relationship. You have to really build some trust to know what that kid can take, how much you can push them and when to pull back, but not, but also making sure that everything that you're giving them allows them to be at their very best.
Before that, like you said, you're in Chicago, you're moving things down, you're with the Bears in the NFL. That NFL grind, like what's it like as a coach coaching in the NFL? How many hours a day are you guys putting in?
I mean, you probably put in anywhere from 14 to 16 hours a day. It's a grind, but you know what? You love it. And to be honest with you, when you have the right mentality and you don't look at it as a grind, it's really not that bad. The thing about the NFL, when you get into the off season, like most organizations, you work in 4-day work weeks. You Monday through Thursday in the off season. So you got 3-day weekends. So you get a little bit of your time back and you can spend time with your family and your loved ones. But you also know when the season hits, it's go time. And, it's not work. I haven't worked a day in my life.
That's a good way to look at it. Chicago, though, they haven't been to the postseason. I think it was 2020. Probably a lot of Saskatchewan-style pressure there to win. It's probably on another level.
It is. You know what? You have a media market here that's pretty tough, but also just a fan base that love their football team. And all they want to see is, a championship football team. And they diehard fans, win or lose, they will still at those games. Just unfortunately in 2024, we wasn't able to deliver. But now I think they've, they put a coaching staff together and, they had a good draft in the 2025 draft and they feel good about where they are. So I wish them all the best. You know what, for Kerry Joseph and the coaching staff, It was just one of those things that didn't work out for us. I had a great experience coaching Caleb Williams and the quarterbacks in that room. So you take what you learn. You learn from some mistakes, and you push on to the next adventure.
What do you like about Caleb Williams going forward for the young guy?
I think he's a generational talent. I mean, I think he's a guy that can have a great career in the NFL. He's very talented, can make all the throws from different platforms. It's not easy for rookies in the NFL. I don't care who it is. You have some guys that have a lot of success, some guys that don't. He was kind of right there in the middle. We got banged up at some spots, but I just really like his competitive edge. He's a guy when the game is on the line, he's going to go out there and compete.
Let's go back now to your career. There's so many things I've been wanting to ask you and going back. Before the Riders, people will remember, you did have a little NFL career. It starts at quarterback after McNeese. You have a run with Cincy. When you go back to that, is anything that you would change that first run, going into Cincy as a QB?
You know what? I would not. It's crazy, too, that you say that and you brought that up. I had a long conversation yesterday with a good friend of mine, Jeff Blake, who's the quarterback of the Cincinnati Bengals at the time I was there. And so I wouldn't trade anything in because I was able to learn a lot. It only worked for 1 year, and then they moved on to another quarterback in my position. But I wouldn't trade it in. I was able to get coached by a Hall of Fame guy and Kenny Anderson, who played quarterback. He was a great quarterback in the NFL. So I wouldn't trade it in for anything because that was part of my journey to go and to be where I am today.
You got to explain, first off, Washington. They see something different in you. How does that come about where you change positions or they give you a shot at a different position?
Well, the running back coach that was in Washington at the time, when I was coming out of college, he told me that when he missed at me coming out of college, he said, I'm going to make you a running back one day. So when the opportunity came and I was waived by Cincinnati, Washington claimed me off of waivers and moved me to running back. So I went from playing quarterback right into running back, and I had to kind of shift the mindset of, okay, now I got to carry the football and I got to block linebackers blitzing in the A gap. So my whole mentality had to change a little bit.
Were they somewhat patient with you on that?
You know what? They were. It was just unfortunately for me, we had a bunch of injuries in camp, so they had to fill some other spots because I was on all four special teams. So I had a chance, but unfortunately, because of some injuries and they had to, go some other directions on the roster, it didn't work out for me. But what it did do for me was the special team coach that was in Washington became the special team coach in Seattle. So when I switched to safety and went to Seattle, I already had a guy that was in my corner as a special team coach. So I just had to go out there and prove that I can play the safety position.
How does that conversation come about? Because it's like quarterback to running back. Okay, now I'm playing safety.
Well, you remember they had the NFL Europe at the time.
Yeah.
And so before I went to Seattle, I went to play with Ryan Fire in Germany. And I went over there as a quarterback. And after a week in the camp, I switched to defensive back. And the defensive coordinator at the time, he was kind of upset. He told the head coach, he said, I don't want no lead quarterback playing in my secondary. And I said, Coach, give me 1 week and I promise you I'll be starting. And after that first week back there, I was a starting free safety for the Ryan Fire. We went on, we won the World Bowl, and then I signed with Seattle as a safety. I never shot away from contact. So
yeah,
I just had to kind of put the pieces together. And for me, I knew what offense was trying to do. I can tell concepts that you were trying to run. And so it kind of helped me being on the back end. And all I look at it as when you play defensive back, especially at the safety spot, you're just a quarterback on the defensive side of the ball.
Is there one big tackle playing defense or interception or even knockdown that you hang your hat on? Somebody famous?
So I remember it was in the World Bowl playing against the Frankfurt Galaxy. And I knew in certain situations they would drag the tight end on a shallow cross at about 5 yards. And we actually have the right defensive call where I was coming down and I was kind of playing like a robber safety and can kind of float.
Yeah.
So I knew once I felt the concept, I knew the tight end was coming. So I just kind of delayed and the quarterback threw it to him. And as he touched the ball, I was able to light him up. And I took him like a 250-pound tight end, took him off his feet. So that was one of my biggest hits that I remember. And then also in Seattle, just, intercepting my first interception was against Doug Flutie when he was playing for when he's playing for Buffalo. So and actually, uh, I want to. I picked him off twice in a. No, I could have. I could have intercepted him twice in that game, but I didn't. But that was my first interception with Doug Flutie.
Did you let him off the hook, or you just didn't get to it? You wanted that second one, right?
I wanted the second one. I should have, but I thought one of my teammates. I kind of pulled off because I heard one of my teammates say he was right there. So I kind of wasn't trying to be selfish, but I wish I would have and got my second one.
So after Seattle, you come up to Canada, end up in Ottawa. How does that come to fruition for you? How much did you know about the CFL? Were you kind of eyeing it up maybe that last year in Seattle, or did you know nothing about it?
I knew about the CFL. I've heard many stories about Warren Moon going there and
Yeah.
winning 5 Grey Cups, and uh, so I knew about it, but I really wasn't thinking about it. I knew coming out of college, I knew teams were inquiring about me going straight there, and I wanted to chase my dream of playing in the NFL. But I got the call from Eric Tillman. I was out a year in of the NFL and just kind of coaching high school ball. And, got the call from Eric to come up to Ottawa and to join the Renegades at the time. And, I thought about it and I just thought it was a great opportunity to go back and play the position I love to play. And I think the biggest challenge too, certain things people say to me challenge me. And I think the comment he made about, I know you haven't played quarterback in some years, so you can come up, take your time. And I know it'd take a little time. That's all I needed because I didn't have time. So I was going up there to prove that I can play the position, and it worked out for me.
Former Saskatchewan Roughrider quarterback, Plaza of Honor member Kerry Joseph with us on the Western Pizza guest hotline. So then it's the dispersal draft, and you end up being picked up by Saskatchewan. Your first memories of coming to Sask?
Well, I remember before the dispersal draft, I remember myself and Yo Murphy. We was playing in Saskatchewan, and it was freezing. And I remember I told him, I said, man, I never want to come play here. And I said, man, they can have this one here. And we both ended up in Saskatchewan. So I told him, I said, there we go. We kind of spoke this one into existence. But so but I remember getting the call when we went, when Ottawa folded, and I got the call from Roy Shivers, and he talked about wanting to take me in the dispersal draft, and I just signed a contract extension with Ottawa before they folded. And I remember it was, it's a good chunk of change. So, Roy was like, I know you do a lot of money and blah, blah, blah. So I said, well, yeah, I said, but that's not my issue. I said, so I would love to be there, but I said, so if you pick me, I'm ready to roll. And he did, and I'm very grateful for Roy Shivers, Danny Barrett, who I still stay in touch with both of those guys. Danny more than Roy, but DB was good to me, and coming to Ryderville, I really Jim Hobson and those guys, I appreciate them for bringing me on board.
2006, right? You guys get a taste of the postseason. Rider Nation, so excited. 2007, 12-6 season. You won the first, I think, 7 of 9. Did you guys know early in that 2007, maybe in camp, that you guys had a championship team?
Yeah, we knew. We had a feeling that it was something special built in Saskatchewan. And, we had the same team that Danny and Roy put together. And then Kent and Eric came in and they added some pieces in that puzzle. And so we really felt the closeness of that team. And you kind of know when you have that window and you have that opportunity. And we took advantage of it. There's a story with that one too, man. I remember losing to BC in that semifinals. And I mean the Western Finals.
West final.
It was West Finals in '06, and I remember watching them with the confetti and accepting the trophy. And I told Fred Perry, I said, man, we coming back here next year. I said, and we're gonna win the West Final, and we're gonna go ahead on to the Grey Cup, and we're gonna win the Grey Cup. And I remember that moment. I actually shared that with Fred again, and Fred Perry remembers that story. So we was destined in '07. We just had to go out there and put the work in, and you know what? It was just a team that was tight knit, and we got it done.
Might be hard to answer. Who were you closest with on that team?
To Yo Murphy, dude followed me everywhere I went.
You guys went winter jacket shopping together once you got here.
Nah, the guy's my guy. You know what? We knew each other from the NFL. We first met each other back in '92. We played against each other in college, and then just to be around him, I would have to say that's my guy. I was probably the closest guy on the team. I was close to a lot of them now. I'm not taking away from any other relationship, but Murph was my guy.
Flick, Fantus, Dominguez, Corey Grant, Wes Cates, Zarka on that offense. A lot of personalities there, a lot of different personalities. Was there one for you as the quarterback that you kind of had to rein in a little bit, that you had to keep in check?
No, you know what? They all was pretty good, but they all were different, and you knew that. And the type of person I was always trying to, within the offense, to make sure everybody got a touch at some point in the game. Because I knew everybody wants the ball. So I knew that if I just early on get a touch here, get a touch there, I know the guys would be involved and they would be happy. And I would actually come to the sideline sometimes, and I'd turn over to say Fantus, hey, you got a catch yet? And he was like, no. So I would try to find a way to get him a catch at some point in that game. And once you do that, they all are pretty happy, and winning helps too. So, but you expect that when you got playmakers like that, and they all want their hands on the football, it's my job to try to get it to them. And you know what, the guys up front, O-line, let's not forget about them guys, man.
Yeah.
They when I tell you, I wasn't worried about anything, and I knew they was going to protect me at all costs. Man, I appreciate it. I told Jeremy O'Day that, the other day when he was in Austin. Man, I appreciate them for keeping me upright.
Wes Cates told me yesterday that you owe him because you stole a few of the touchdowns. You took the bread out of his mouth that year on a few touchdowns.
Well, it's not my fault they call quarterback sneak. I mean, you get to the 1 yard, Wes Kate, I'm going to say this right now. If you're listening, I'm going to say it live. My brother, I have nothing but love for you. I am sorry. I want to say I had like 13 touchdowns. Okay, I probably took 4 or 5 from you. So I'm sorry, Wes Cates.
Right here. It's on the cage, of course. Now that you're coaching, do you go back? What would you have learned from Kent Austin?
Man, one thing about Kent, I remember him saying, man, playing the quarterback position is you got to walk a line. On one side is arrogance, the other side is confidence. But make sure you just walk the line, and especially don't fall to the arrogant side. And and he always say arrogance is just confidence under control. That's all it is. And just and how to see the game from an offensive perspective. I really appreciate Kent, from '07, but not only '07. When I think about Joe Papa, Kent Austin in Ottawa, my first year, Kent was the quarterback coach. Joe Papa, quarterback guy. Then I get Danny Barrett, Tommy Condell, who's still coaching in the CFL. I had a lot of great offensive minds that helped me put my career together along that journey.
You guys win it, 07. Everybody knows, it was such a drought for us. James Johnson, what a game he has. When's the last time you talked to him?
It's been a while. We'll catch each other on social media. check in with each other, and like guys that I might not talk to. If I see him on social media, I send him a text. Jason Armstead, we talked the other day, so we had a great conversation. So whenever I can, I try to make sure I connect with the guys.
A young Darian Durant, right? Like I said, we talk to him every Monday here on the show. When we talk, he was like, I never wanted to be third string. Like, I wanted to play. And I thought, hey, I can always play. Do you remember teaching a young Darian Durant anything? Like, listen, son, we got it. It's the process here. What do you remember about a young Doubles?
You know what? You think about Double D, he was there with myself and Marcus Crandall, and then he comes in, and the one thing I can say about him, he was very humble, but he was very hungry. And
Yeah.
he knew he wanted to play, which I expect that. Everybody expects that. But also he knew that just talking to myself, Marcus Crandall, watching, learning the game, that was the benefit for him going forward.
Okay, I'll go here. Just a couple more. You get traded to Toronto, and then there's Edmonton, and then you retire. But then Sask convinces you to come back late in the I think it was 14 or whatever season that, and I remember that, and I'm like he was retired. What made you want to come back late in the year like that? Was that an easy decision?
It wasn't an easy decision. I knew like just the age gap in the locker rooms. I knew that when some things got a little tough for me on the training side, that was going to be at the back end of my career.
Yeah.
It wasn't a hard decision, but I did tell my wife that I wanted to some way retire with the Riders. And when that opportunity presented itself, good friend of mine, I talked to Kavis Reed, got his input, his thoughts about some things, and he kind of encouraged me to, hey, why don't you take that shot? And I knew at the time George Cortez was there, so I knew the offense. And I said, you know what? Let me go close this chapter out. Might have not ended it the way I wanted to, but It was great to go back and to be a part of the Rider Nation again.
Yeah, you retire as a Rider, Plaza of Honor, like I said. When you talk to young guys about the CFL, maybe even Saskatchewan, what do you say?
I just tell them that, it's a college town. It's like playing in a college football town. They love the players. They love their football. It's a great place to play football. And I tell guys all the time that it's not a big city. So you can really focus in on your craft, focus in on what you're there for to get the job done. And when you're in a town like that, the team becomes close because you don't have a lot of things to do. So you find a way to do it together, and you do things together, and you grow that brotherhood. And I always tell guys, man, if you get a chance to do it, you think about the stadium, the people, the organization, so go there and give it your best shot.
Kerry, really appreciate this. Really looking forward to seeing, how you guys do in Texas this year. And what is it? Hook 'em horns, right?
Hook 'em horns.
There you go. There you go. Take care. I know Rider Nation loves to hear from you, and hopefully we get to do this again.
Hey, and I know we was talking about Darian Durant, Double D, and that's my guy, man. You don't understand too. I was proud to see him wear number 4 and to go on and have the career he had. And I didn't have to say much to him because he was a student of the game, and he just watched the way we worked, and to see what his career turned out to be. Boom. Much love to you, Doubles.
He talks about you the same way. All right, Kerry, best of luck this year.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
That is former Saskatchewan Roughrider, Plaza of Honor member. What a great conversation. We could have went for an hour. Kerry Joseph. Says the Sports Cage. We're streaming at sportscage.com. And as always, on the home of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, 620 CKRM. Welcome back to the Sports Cage. Winnipeg Jet fans, I know you're pumped. St. Louis Blues fans also, if there's any of you out there. How about Braden Yager getting called up? Now that the Lethbridge Hurricanes have been done and dusted in the WHL playoffs, Yager to the Winnipeg Jets. Now, probably not playing. He's been called up. Looks like Nikolai Ehlers is projected to be in the lineup tonight for the Jets, which will help kind of thought speculation that he was taking his hockey bag when he was making the trip yesterday. Talked to Brian Munns about that. So much to get to still on the program. We'll talk NHL with our NHL insider, Eric Francis, later, and with this guy as we get going with Farhan Lalji.
It's time to get the inside story. TSN's Farhan Lalji on SportsCage is brought to you by the Cooperators. Time to get financially fit? Cooperators can build a plan that works for you. Cooperators, investing in your future together.
All right. Live radio. Internet dropped out, so we don't have them at this point. But we can still talk NHL because Curtis is going to get this Brady Tkachuk clip ready. Leaf fans, if you heard the interview with Luke Mullinder earlier, we bet a nice meal, not a Kenny Banya soup style meal, a nice meal at Western Pizza. He's taking his Leafs. Luke's all in on the Leafs. I'm taking the Panthers. If you follow the show regularly, you know in the Keniston Super Draft, I am absolutely cooked because I didn't take any Panthers. I went Lightning. That's over. That's over. But I still got a chance to win a nice meal at Western Pizza on Luke if the Panthers can, probably will, beat the Leafs. Brady Tkachuk, how can't you love this guy? If you're an Ottawa Senators fan, if you're in Ottawa, this is him post-game yesterday after the loss.
When they were chanting your name and then chanting Go Sens Go at the end of the game there and giving you guys a standing ovation for your season, how did that feel?
I mean, just to feel the support. It's been a long 8 years for them and to experience it. And honestly, they don't really realize the impact that it's made on me and this team, and just really wanted to do it for them, and they were absolutely amazing. And I know it sucks right now, but I really can't wait for what the future holds.
Gotta love it. How don't you love that guy? If you're a Sens fan going forward, let's be honest, can anyone see him playing his full career there, though? Kind of like Quinn Hughes, right? They're American guys. They probably want to play down south. Well, Hughes wants to play with his brothers. Let's just be honest. Put yourself in his shoes. Do you want to play way out on the West Coast? That team that's got beautiful there, but a team that's got the worst travel? Or do you want to maybe carpool to games with your brothers in New Jersey? Tonight, Winnipeg Jets. Nikolai Ehlers in the lineup. And like we talked about, that series, Brian Munns was in yesterday. You just have to watch it somewhat closely. It has been nasty. The hits, Braden Shen on Scheifele, and that's why Scheifele's out. Your guess is as good as mine. Prairie Land Rentals text line 936-6262. Is it a concussion? Rib issue? Sternum issue? A couple of jarring hits. The one from Shen leaves his feet a bit. That series has been heavy. All you want in a playoff series. That's the only game tonight, too. It's that time of the first round where we've been spoiled with a number of games, and we just got one tonight. Jets in St. Louis. Puck drop around 6:10 Saskatchewan time. Sasky time. St. Louis is the dog. No, they're the favorites a bit. Smidge. Colorado, Dallas, back tomorrow in Dallas. Florida, Toronto, starting on Monday night. Forgot that Toronto has home ice there. I'm wonder if that will be that big of a deal. Carolina and Washington. Don't forget about that series. That's kind of going to be the forgetful series of the second round. Not the two sexiest of teams. They're both good, but a little bit forgotten. No Canadian, obviously, team in that one. Washington going in, home ice advantage. But I don't know how you handicap the favorite in that one. We probably all don't watch enough Carolina Hurricane hockey games to know exactly what they're all about. They got a deep team. They underachieved last year in the playoffs, I can tell you that, because I took them. Took them heavy in the Kinnison Super Draft. So next year when we do the Kinnison Super Draft thing here on the Sports Cage, do the exact opposite of what I do. At least for a couple of those teams. And I think Harry tried to talk sense into me, saying, well, no, I think actually Harry made it worse. He said, well, you got to ride with what you think. Shouldn't have thought the same thing on all three, though.
Was he making it worse, or was he just egging you on?
He knows me well enough. He could probably egg me on.
Yeah. Probably.
Subtly, passively.
Probably just wanting to watch you trip and fall.
Mm-hmm. Well, sure have.
Yep.
Sure, love donating to the Kenniston Lions anyway, so, and it's fun. You're in the game. I should have done the Super 8, though. And I was so rushed to get it in. I didn't do the Super 8. That was a bad one on my part. The Blues are the favorite tonight at home. 186. Jets paying 195. If you want to sprinkle on that. Does Ehlers make a difference? It's going to be a good watch. It's going to be a really, really good watch. We had some rider news today. If you're the rider hardo at home, that you got everybody. I got to know everybody in camp. Like I said to Luke, I feel like they got 47 offensive linemen alone coming into camp next week. How's that food bill going to be? Peyton Collins spent 6 collegiate seasons at Eastern Kentucky. Peyton Collins is 6'7", 301 pounds. 6'7", 301. Guy can eat. Guy can lift. Look at him. If you're watching the stream, you see the picture of him there. Looks almost like a cartoon. How big he is. And then also Jake Levengood, offensive lineman. He's 6'4", 294. Good size. Spent 6 collegiate seasons at Oregon State University, appearing in 49 games as a Beaver. So both those guys in camp. More offensive linemen. We learned last year you can never have enough offensive linemen around. Put them all on the practice roster. Rent out a whole apartment block for them. O-lineman block. We never know. Hey, the Saskatchewan Rattlers, basketball fans. Colson, we get a little NBA update here right away. What's going on in the playoffs? I'll let you tee it up. But the Saskatchewan Rattlers, they're bringing their training camp to Regina for 2 days. May 9th and 10th. University of Regina. Details are on sportscage.com. You can go in there and check it out. So if you're a basketball fan, got the young basketball fan in your life, this will be cool. Go watch some pro ball training camp at the U of R. Again, sportscage.com. Also, if you go to sportscage.com, Estevan Bruins removing the interim tag from Drew Kosher. He's now the full-time head coach and general manager. Shout out, Kosher. Good job. Head coach there. Basketball, what do we got, Colson?
Well, the East is already decided. The Cavaliers will face the Pacers, and the Knicks will face the Celtics.
Ooh, Knicks and Celtics.
The Cavs and Pacers I'm finding a little bit more amusing, because if you didn't catch it over the weekend, the Pacers beat the Bucks Game 5, and then Halliburton's dad comes onto the court celebrating and gets in Giannis Antetokounmpo's face about it. And so what do the Cavs do? the shirts that they're giving out to the fans, they all say "Control your dad" or something like that on them. And I'm like, all right, here we go.
Control your dad.
So that's
Psycho hockey dad, move over. We got psycho basketball, pro basketball dad.
Exactly. So that's in the East. On the West side, the Houston Rockets and Golden State Warriors will play tonight.
Yeah, that's an interesting matchup.
Yeah, the Warriors are up 3-2, so they just need a win and they can move on.
But they got schooled the other night in Houston.
Yeah, it was bad. And then, the Nuggets and Clippers are playing Game 7 on Saturday.
What was the guy's name on the Rockets that just had a game? He went off. He stripped Steph Curry.
Well,
and then they were Steph Curry's apparently got an injury to his hand or something. They're kind of hacking and whacking.
His thumb is like taped up. Like if you were a regular person, you would be like, no, I'm mailing it in today. I'm not playing. He's Steph Curry, so he's going all out. But Jamal Murray is on the Nuggets.
Definitely not.
Good try, Curtis, but no.
Thumb issues for Steph Curry. Interesting to see how he plays tonight. You guys are too young. You don't know thumb wrestlers. WWF. They had thumb wrestlers in the 80s.
Dylan Brooks was the one who was playing hard defense on Curry, and there's a lot of people kind of upset about how he was playing defense, but he also had 24 points, and Amen Thompson had 25 in that last game, so they kind of led the charge there.
There's your little NBA update. Don't forget Saskatchewan Rush fans in Halifax tomorrow, the semifinals, game 1. Then they're back on the 10th and 11th in Saskatoon. Let's go to break. It's the Sports Cage. SportsCage.com and on 620 CKRM.
May 2nd to May the 7th. All the equipment located on the farm near Rama, Saskatchewan. Visit YACauctions.com or call 782-5999 for more details.
Every acre, every seed, every plant. The Fendt Momentum Planter makes everything count. Hydraulic delta force from Precision Planting creates specific downforce for each of the 48 row units across the 60-foot toolbar, which controls compaction, allowing you to make a big impact without leaving one. Grow bold with the Fendt Momentum Planter from Nick Service in Emerald Park. nickservice.com.
It's time to get the inside story. TSN's Farhan Lalji on Sports Cage is brought to you by the Cooperators. Time to get financially fit? Cooperators can build a plan that works for you. Cooperators, investing in your future together.
Out on the West Coast, Farhan Lalji joining us here. Farhan, great job. CFL draft the other night. Main takeaways from the draft from you?
Well, I think, first of all, I love what the Riders did. The fact that they got Ali Saad, I know Lapo felt he was the best D lineman in the draft, just loves how active he is. I thought he was good. I thought, they've got Eric Anderson, who is from Western, the offensive lineman, that, I think, he might not be the most pro-ready guy today, but I think he's got a huge ceiling and could be a starter by as soon as 2026 in my mind. And who knows what happens in the Curtis Rourke front, right? If they wind up landing him at some point. So I thought they did a pretty good job. But overall, what was interesting to me was just how the positions in the draft have changed in terms of what's important to teams now, right? I mean, usually you could just book the fact that linemen were going to go high. And every year we would talk about it, but we would get to drafting, we'd get to the floor, and you'd still get like 4 of the first 6 guys were linemen. And that didn't happen this time. We got 2 in the first round, a couple in the second round. It just wasn't deep that way, but they were really good value at other positions, and teams took advantage of that.
Elgersma, also, I think a great pick by Winnipeg. Do you like that one as well?
I do, and certainly he's going to be available a lot sooner than Curtis Rourke is, right? I don't think that Taylor Elgersma is necessarily going to be in the NFL for a long period of time. I know he's got the mini camps with the Bills and the Packers, and I know there is some concern that he'll probably miss like about a week and a half of his first CFL training camp, but it's not like he's in the mix to play this year for the Bombers as a starter, but he's in a great position where he can work behind Zach Caleros. I think his arm is very good. It's more than good enough to play in this league. I think accuracy is sometimes a concern for Taylor, and we'll see how that looks when you're having to play against much faster defenders. But I think he's got a really good ceiling. He's got a good head for the game. And, he's not going to beat you running, right? He's not going to extend plays, but he can throw the football.
When you look at the Rourke brothers, where they are at the same time or same age, how do they differ? Because you know them well.
Well, there's no question Curtis is a much better passer of the football coming out of college than Nathan was. Nathan's a better athlete and runs the ball better than Curtis did at this stage of his career. So, they're different, right? But when you look at Curtis, he certainly fits the NFL prototype, especially the older school NFL prototype. And in the NFL, there's always going to be a place for a pro-style passer, which is what Curtis is, right? So he's 6'5", legitimately, and has that arm. So, and I think he's in the perfect system, right? I really think San Francisco is an awesome, awesome spot for him. What the Shanahan-McVay offense offers is a guy with his skill set to succeed. And it's a group that has some stability, right? So Shanahan and John Lynch, even though they struggled last year, I don't think they're going anywhere. Ownership has their back. They've got each other's back. So they're also guys that will do what they did with Brock Purdy. What, the guy that's a low pick is showing us great things? Yeah, we'll take him. So I think they're two entirely different quarterbacks. Nathan can throw the ball as well as Curtis can now in terms of velocity, but coming out of college, there's no question Curtis's passing ability is much farther ahead than Nathan's was at that time.
Did you get anything from the commish, being so close to him that day? I know you know him, but anything you can tell us?
Just an enthusiasm. I've been through 4 commissioners on day one now, right? So just to see that level of excitement, and everyone's got their own set of priorities, right? I mean, when Randy came in day one, it was really important for him to make the pie bigger, right? We're not going to excel as a league if we're only going to be dealing with Canadian economics. So we've got to find a way to make this, a global league and do all of those types of things. So while it may or may not have worked, that was the intention at the time. It was get to 10 teams, and it was create some global markets and just that excitement, right? Whereas when you look at Stu, he's all about what the product is going to look like and trying to engage a younger audience, and where can they go in this ever-changing broadcasting landscape, and how can we deliver it differently to our consumers and to younger consumers. So just the excitement around that, I think, is a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to seeing him in action.
Shift to hockey. Since the last time we talk it not coming back. Surprised at all there?
Yeah, eventually no, but initially yes, right? When it happened at the, when they were going through conversations, I thought it was going to get done. I thought he was going to find a way and they were going to get him back here. But when it got into the weekend and it still wasn't done, then I started kind of having some pause. And, I did communicate with him a little bit, on it. And I knew that a lot of things that were on his mind. And, I also think that there's certain things that mattered to him that the club couldn't address. You can't assuredly say that Quinn Hughes is coming back in 2 years and is going to sign another extension. You can't assuredly know what's going to happen with Elias Pettersson. And those, that it wasn't just all about that, but ultimately it wasn't about contract, because the team was willing to come up and give him the term and the dollars that he wanted, maybe even more than that. So it was about a number of other things, and I think it's a big blow for the franchise. There's no doubt about it. But like I said, as we got into the weekend, then it became less and less a surprise as to where it was headed.
Is there somebody internal that you think's earmarked maybe for that job?
I know that Manny Malhotra internally is going to be part of the conversation, right? So he was an assistant previously, and then he was the head. This year, he's still currently the head coach in Abbotsford, as they're currently in the American Hockey League playoffs. And I think Manny would be great. I have no doubt he would come in and do a good job. However, are they willing to go with somebody who hasn't been a head coach at this level yet? And really hasn't been a head coach that long, even though he has had time on an NHL bench with the Canucks and the Leafs. So I know Peter Laviolette is also one of the finalists. I think that would be interesting, just kind of given his fiery personality and where he's at, right? He's kind of almost become that John Tortorella, Mike Babcock type of guy that's just been through a lot of franchises now. And, you wonder if the message still resonates, but he is certainly going to demand a level of accountability. And then there's some others that, are in and around the Penguins organization that have a relationship with Alvin and Rutherford. Jay Woodcroft, former Oiler head coach, I think is going to be part of the conversation. And I think he's going to earn a second opportunity here at some point. I got a lot of time for Jay. So I think those are some of the names. But in terms of internal, really only Manny. I don't know that Adam Foote gets considered for this job, but and we'll see where they go with Manny.
Does Jim Rutherford just need to stop talking for a while?
No, come on. We can't have it both ways as media, Barney. You can't sit here and say, boy, we wish guys would be more candid and honest, and then turn around and say, why is he saying so much? I like his honesty. I don't like guys that just want to BS the fans through the media. So he's putting it out there. And if that part of that is tempering fans' expectations or making sure they have real ones, I think that's okay, because I think this organization is going to be in for some hurt for a while here. You can't just wind this back and call this the one-off, given the change that's come out of it, right? Like, if the Canucks had just had a bunch of bad guys, having guys with bad seasons, and they were going to bring the band back together next year, you could say, hey, what was the real Canucks? The 23-24 version or the 24-25 version? Well, now neither are going to be the 25-26 version. So, if you're a fan of the Canucks, be ready for some pain for a while.
There you go. You heard it here first. Oilers advance. Like, after the first two games, book it. Book Vegas, probably, and Los Angeles meeting. Oilers somehow do it, Farhan.
Yeah, and if you're Jim Hiller, you got to be really kicking yourself, right? Because this series turned on that challenge, right? On that goaltender interference challenge in Game 3, which they just never should have challenged. And they had the Oilers where they wanted them. And, they scored and it was a tie game. Okay, well, you got to live with the tie game and move it forward. But he got greedy, and immediately they scored, and immediately the series tilted, and the Kings could never get it back. They had their foot on their throat, and they took it off. So, and so is this Oiler team good enough to do what they did last year? I don't think so. But, last year I didn't think they could get that far, and they just got better every series. So maybe that happens again. Who knows? I mean, they sure showed depth scoring in the last series, in the last two games. So we'll see if they can ride that.
Imagine if we're talking in 2 weeks that Calvin Pickard is taking the Oilers to the Western Conference Final.
Not buying it. But look, I didn't think their goaltending or their defense was good enough to get them anywhere near the conference final last year. Yeah, they got the two best players on the planet, but there are other holes, and those are still there. So can they pull it off again? I guess anything's possible, but I don't see it.
I know. That's the thing. It's like, I want to bet against them, but I swore after last year I wasn't going to do it. And Quinton Byfield, too. Like, all you had to do was get the puck out.
Yeah. No kidding. No, you're right.
He's got to live with that all summer. All right. I know you're a busy guy, and always great to chat quickly on a Friday. Take it all in this weekend. We'll see. Jets St. Louis tonight will be a great watch. That's heavy hockey.
Go Jets. Let's do it.
Right on. Thanks, Farhan.
See you, buddy.
See ya. Farhan Lalji. His reports are brought to you by the Cooperators. It's time to get financially fit. Cooperators can build a plan that works for you. Cooperators, invest in your future together. So what is it, 6:07 did I say? Puck drop-ish between the Blues and the Jets. It'd be nice if the Jets can get it done. They're going to need that. They're going to need that rest. For sure. Rest up, heal some bodies. But I think this one's going back to the peg for Game 7. Get crazy in the streets in Winnipeg for Game 7. That, I don't even know, what day would that be? Probably on Sunday? Sunday night wrap up in Winnipeg. It always gets rowdy in Winnipeg on Sundays. Braden Yager, don't know if you just caught this, called up by the Jets today now that the Lethbridge Hurricanes have been eliminated. So Yags from Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, with the Moose Jaw Warriors yesterday, has been called up. Spokane and Medicine Hat will play in the Western Hockey League final starting next Friday. 2 teams that can score. There's no doubt about it. Curling fans, we are going to keep an eye on things if we can here. The quarterfinals, semifinals. Randy Bryden senior men's team. Canada, Finland, 4:30 in the semis. Let's go pay some bills. Streaming at SportsCage.com and on the home of local sports in Saskatchewan, 620 CKRM. Clutch performer time. Colson, you start it.
All right. This is from a bit over a week ago, but it came across my feed yesterday, so comes out now. Hunter Watson. He's a
Randy's boy.
He's a commit to Oklahoma for baseball, playing at Tuttle, which I don't know where Tuttle is, but he's a pitcher.
Gilmore.
Right? And
Gilmore Tuttle from Slapshot.
Sure. He's a pitcher, and they only do 7 innings.
Okay.
Pitches a perfect game. All 21 strikeouts. So I'm like, yeah, that deserves a clutch performer. How could you get any better than that? Oh, home run, 3 RBIs, too.
Jeez, really?
Yeah.
So player.
Yeah, obviously got player of the week.
What's his name?
Hunter Watson.
Hunter Watson. Related to Randy Watson.
With those stats, wouldn't be surprised.
Okay, mine, I'm going to the Spokane Chiefs again. Man, Spokane Chiefs are a good hockey team. Spokane and Medicine Hat's going to be such a good WHL Eastern Conference final. It's going to be like pond hockey. It's going to be like lunch hour, noon hockey, where one guy's wearing sweats and some guys are full geared up and all they do is score and one goalie can't go down. So the games are like 10-9. Samarumba, we're going to have him on the show next week. But Andrew Cristall, 2 goals, 1 assist again last night for the Spokane Chiefs. Rasmus Ekstrom, 1-1. Shea Van Olm, 1-1. Berkeley Catton, no points last night, but a +2.
What?
Berkeley Catton had no points last night. He's just teasing everybody. Dawson Cowan in net kicks away 39 of the good ones. Spokane Chiefs, Medicine. That's my clutch performer. All the Spokane Chiefs, can they score goals? Clutch performer always for Nick Service in Emerald Park, your local Massey Ferguson Challenger Rogator Fent dealer. Riders released their theme games for the 2025 home schedule today. It's on sportscage.com as well. Jumping around here, there's a lot. Game 1's Community Culture Night. That's the preseason tilt, the friendly against Winnipeg. The kickoff in the Heartland, June 5th. That'll be an absolute buzzsaw, that stadium that night. Kiskawas, how do you say it?
Kiskasassawan.
Kiskasassawan, something like that.
Yeah,
Dave
Dave Thomas has to say it a lot. He's got it nailed. Yeah. I remember it from last year.
They're going to do the logo, the indigenous logos again on the helmets. Man, that was so good last year. That's June 28th. Rooted in the West. That's your chance to get your cowboy boots on and shorts or jeans.
Or jean shorts.
Why wouldn't a jorts? July 11th, that one. Christmas in July, that one. I don't know. Is this one sponsored by a dispensary? July 25th versus Edmonton. It's presented by Pure Later. Christmas in July. Like a sale at Crazy Kylie's back in the day. Riderland Family Days, August 16th. Labor Day Classic, of course. Legends Night. Legends Night, that's a good one. Sastel Plaza of Honor, of course. That's September 13th. Lights Out. Land of Living Skies. Really liked that last year. Had the kids with me on that one. October 10th. Welcome to Fabulous Riderville, October 25th. All the details. Get your tickets because the single game tickets went on sale today, too, at 10 a.m. So you're going to be left out in the cold. And there's going to, it's going to be FOMO, fear of missing out. You're going to want Rider tickets.
Do you remember the Western game last year and the sheep got loose all the way into the end zone and all that jazz? Are we going to sprinkle on whether or not one gets loose again this year?
No, but I'm glad you got your mic close to your face because we're going to play a game right now.
Uh-oh.
It's the Kentucky Derby tomorrow.
Ooh.
That's big time. Horse racing. Bet the ponies. Always fun. All right. The game is going to be, I'm going to give out some names here. You guys tell me if these are horses running in the Kentucky Derby or if these are made up. Okay?
Please no.
Here we go. Okay, the first one. Sandman.
Sandman? That feels too simple.
Okay, you got to be quick, though.
I'm going to say no.
I'm going to say made up.
He's in the race.
Darn.
He is not quite a long shot. Not favorite. Is in the middle. In cahoots.
That's got to be one. I like that.
No.
It's not.
Darn.
Are you looking at it, you cheater?
I'm not.
Don't be cheating on this. Spent a lot of time on this this morning. American Promise.
I'm going to say yeah.
Yeah.
That's correct. Astro Boy.
Maybe. I'm going to say no.
I'm going to say yeah.
Made up.
Damn.
I've lost track.
Luxor Cafe.
Luxor Cafe, yeah.
No way.
It is.
I think I'm one ahead of you now. I wasn't keeping track, though.
We can go back. Sovereignty.
Ooh. Yeah, that one's real.
Yeah, it sounds... Yeah, we're going to say
It
yeah.
is. Good job. Both you guys got her.
I was going to say, that one's kind of traditional. A traditional horse name.
Prickly Pete.
I want it to be real. I'm going to say yes.
That's totally real.
Real horse, but from Seinfeld. Not in the race.
That's why it's familiar.
So that's wrong.
Because we're only going for Kentucky Derby ones.
Kuahara Speed.
I'm saying that's real only because I don't think you would have come up with that one.
Nah, that's fake.
It's fake. Kuahara was a great BMX back in the 80s. You guys weren't alive. Citizen Bull.
No.
Fake.
In the race.
Dang it.
Plus 1,600 odds. Paraphernalia.
Sure.
That's banned from the race. You're not allowed to have that in the race. No, it's not real.
Sure. Why not?
Not real. Gleaming the Cube.
Real.
Real.
No, skateboard movie from the 80s.
Damn.
Barney's found the secret. If it's in the 80s, we won't know it.
Final Gamut.
Oh, that's real.
Gotta be.
Yeah, I'll let you guys end on that. There's the game. We should have been keeping track the whole way.
It's recorded.
Kentucky Derby tomorrow. Just looking at cool bet here on some of the odds. A favorite is journalism.
I have a feeling that we got less than 50% of them right. That felt like a 5 out of 10 performance right there, if not worse.
We'll play it. Maybe we'll have to play that for every with the Triple Crown, all the big races.
Oh boy.
As well. Golf season's here. Flowing Springs opened up today. I think most courses in the area are now open. Every year we're going to be doing every week we're going to be doing a showcase of a local course, something in Saskatchewan, hidden gem, maybe not. We're going to start it off with one of the big guys, one of the big daddies, the Waskesiu Golf Course. When we come back, it is the Sports Cage on 620 CKRM. Welcome back to the Sports Cage. It is golfing season. A lot of courses open around the area. A lot of courses open around the province. We're trying to keep you up to date on our socials as well. We got a new feature starting today, going to be running until September. It's a look at golf courses around Saskatchewan. Some are hidden, some well-known. We welcome your responses as well. And if there's something that we should cover, always the text line 936-6262. It's called Prairie Golf Gems. It's for Flooring Superstore in Regina. Trent Dickin and his team, they can help you out. Over 30 years in business. Flooring Superstore on Park Street. So for the first one, I thought, why don't we start with one of the most iconic golf courses in Saskatchewan, the Waskesiu Golf Course. A lot of you have played it. Some maybe haven't. Some maybe haven't played it for a few years. It has changed a lot. Joining me for episode 1, Prairie Golf Jams, is General Manager of the Waskesiu Golf Course, Tyler Baker. Baker, you're at the course. That's a good sign. Why don't you give people an update? Are we open up there? How are things looking?
We're opening May 9th. It's going to be our go-to for the start of the season, and things are looking really well. The golf course wintered well, and things are looking great.
New greenskeeper up there, retiring, just an absolute legend for many years, and then you got a new guy. Why don't you tell us about that?
Excuse me. Yeah. So Gary Cross was there for 16 years. He retired, and he's now spending his time in Thailand with his family. And, congratulations to Gary. He did a wonderful job for us up here. But his replacement actually started, he cut his roots here, Blaine Fanyu. He worked here as a young fella back in the late 80s, early 90s before he went to Elkridge for the last 32 years. And when the opportunity came for him to pop over to kind of where he started, he wanted to take it. So we're very excited to have Blaine on board.
We're looking at some of the shots here. The golf course just gets me excited to play it. I'm sure a lot of you out there as well. This course is ranked every year. I think last year, you're going to have to refresh me on where it was ranked for Score Golf Canada. And just always, I'm sure you see a lot of hype with people traveling to play it. They've heard so much about it. And probably a lot of first-timers excited to play it every year as well.
Yeah, so the last, Score Golf Top 100, we snuck in. It was 2020 rankings. In the 80s last year, they came out again, and we were number 47. So, big kudos to all our supporters, but as well as Gary for getting the golf course in such great shape. And to be able to be recognized, not just by Score Golf, but also we have Beyond the Contour and some other rankings where we're a little bit high. And but it's a huge feather in our cap. I'm very proud to be on that list.
If you've been around there a long time, you've had a couple of stints. If you had to maybe say or go back and handicap a bit, what are the 2 favorite or 3 favorite holes that people have consistently up at Waskesiu?
First one is hole number 2. Everybody talks about number 2 being a part, it's a short par 3, but that green is, it's very, I want to say devilish. It's misleading. There's a lot of 3, 4, 5 putts. It's my favorite hole in the golf course. I would say the other hole that gets a lot of recognition is hole number 8, as Stanley Thompson kind of nicknamed it May West back in the day. It is, a lot of people love it. It's a long 600-yard par 5, kind of a blind approach shot to the green because of the 2 bunkers and the mounds on the right and the left-hand side. And then probably the other one would be the iconic lobstick tree on hole number 1. It hasn't been really as iconic, but since we lost the original lobstick tree, but now we've been able to prune the new tree to look more like a lobstick tree. I think there's going to be a lot more excitement again. That just to start your round off by hitting it past the tree.
And it's a sign of how old we're getting, because that thing's growing every year you go up there, and the new one is getting taller and taller. It's pretty cool. The lobsticks, actually, the tournaments. Let's talk about those, because it is something that you and I were talking about it off camera that we haven't seen ever, where the men's wait list is the men's lobstick in June into the hundreds. And if people don't know what the lobstick really is, it's these are match play golf tournaments. So you're qualifying around, and then you're flighted into flights with your handicap or your caliber of golfers, and then you play matches against each other. It's very popular, very cool. The men's title, we're into the hundreds for a wait list, and then now the juniors in August. I'm not sure how the ladies is, but the juniors is now full as well as we sit here in May.
I mean, I look back to 2016, 17, 18, and even 2019. we couldn't get 200 players for the men's lopstick. And in the last 4 years, it's just exploded. We bring in 256 players for the match play. We have the open side as well, but like you say, it's just every day I'm getting someone to add me to the wait list, and I almost feel bad saying that you're number 100 and whatever, and that sort of thing. But even the senior lopstick, 256 players for the 3-day event, and we got 80 players on that wait list. The juniors, we usually take 144 players. Well, we increased it to 160 plus the junior entries, and to over 190 golfers. And we've got 17 us there, and another 8 on the junior list. So, golf is still booming, and tournament play. Obviously, no one's shying away from tournament golf. Yeah, I know it is match play. It's a very, very fun format. The ladies feel as quickly, but last year we did have a waiting list by the time we got to July. So we expect more of the same.
It is a lot of fun. There's no doubt about it. And I think that's why people keep coming back and wanting to get in it, and just the camaraderie as well with everyone. All right. So you're opening May 9th. Give us, what's the best course of action for people to book if they're coming up there, maybe in the summer, maybe late spring, maybe even fall. How far in advance can you book? And then it's still reasonable to play a Stanley Thompson design in one of the top courses in the country. Give us the prices as well.
Yeah, so this year we're 83 walking, 109 with the cart. And we did get a brand new fleet of club cart tempos, so little feather in our hat to our friends at Ace of Carts there. So 109 if you want a cart, 83 walking. Probably the easiest to book is online through our website, waskasiugolf.com. The other is we do have a toll-free number set up that goes to the pro shop, and that's 1-855-663-5300. All the information, all the even a little bit of history is on our website, so they can see the prices, how to book, and just get to know the place a little better if they haven't been here before.
Awesome. All right, Tyler. Excited to get up there myself. Thanks so much for doing this. Probably not a better way to start this year with the iconic Waskesiu Golf Course. All the best, and probably see you in a few weeks' time.
That sounds great, Barney. Thank you.
Right on. Tyler Baker, General Manager of the Waskesiu Golf Course, joining us on Prairie Golf Gems for Flooring Superstore in Regina. Trent Dickin knows a thing or two about golfing. You can see him and his experienced team on Park Street. They've been in the business over 30 years. We'll go to break. It is the Sports Cage, streaming at sportscage.com and on the home of local sports in Saskatchewan, 620 CKRM. Welcome back. We run the Prairie Golf Gems, our first episode of that. And look, Prairie Land Rentals text line light up. People letting us know what golf courses we should showcase. We'll try and get to as many as we can. There's a lot in the province I haven't played that are gems. Waskesiu is like a second home for me, and I know a lot of you have played it and love it. If you haven't played it, though, in the last 10 years, it is a different track. Like, I used to be able to hit balls in places and find them. Now, oh, good luck. Reloadville. A lot for me. It is the Sports Cage. Thanks on this Friday. We got Kerry Joseph. If you missed that interview, we're going to play that again in the back half of the hour here as well. Jets fans are getting ready for the game against the St. Louis Blues. Let's talk some NHL hockey. It's our NHL Insider on a Friday.
Now for Inside the NHL with Eric Francis on the Sports Cage. Inside the NHL is brought to you by Selfie Mainline Chrysler, the newest king of trucks. Worth the drive every time, guaranteed.
I'd be disappointed that on a Friday at 5:06 you haven't had a rum and Coke already.
Oh, where to go? Yeah, no, it's Friday. It's like 26 degrees here in Calgary. Every patio in the city is absolutely busting, or at least that's what I saw anyway.
How come you're not swinging the sticks? That's a better question.
I played every day this week. You can't. Sometimes I played earlier this morning too. So no, When are you coming out? We got to play. Like, you talk about hitting it in places where you can't find your ball. You're exactly the guy I want to play with, especially if you bring your wallet.
Yeah, you can peel me. I'll bring some Canadian dollars. Yeah, we'll figure that out. Maybe it's around a Rider game in Calgary. I can't. Is it Byfield or is it Coach Hiller for the Kings that needs to be blamed for this collapse against the Oilers?
Oh my God, man, you're putting that on a tee for me. Speaking of golf, Jim Hiller, I'm not sure he's going to get fired over it, but they say this in hockey all the time. Coaches can't win or lose games for you. Well, guess what? They can. They can lose series for you. That call was so egregious in Game 3. It was so full of emotion and not smarts that I think it turned the series on a dime. And I think that Jim Hiller's future with the LA Kings needs to be examined based on that call more than almost anything else. Like, maybe that's over the top for some people, but I have yet to find anyone who thinks there was anything remotely close to, a solid mindset to risk putting the best power play in the history of the NHL on the ice right after you just got scored on. Like, I haven't seen a coaching decision that bad in maybe 10, 15 years. Correct me if I'm wrong.
And I would love to know if there's a docuseries that comes up on how many people, kind of push him to the call. And he's got, at the end of the day, he makes the final decision. That's why he's there. He's got to make that final decision. Yeah. You know this as well as anybody. And is somebody saying, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. And then he overrides him and they do it. And it's like, and the other thing, Eric, take nothing away from the Edmonton Oilers, because here we go again. It is like deja vu. I have no idea how far they're going to go, what they're going to do.
Yeah.
It's like a wild ride. It is a wild, emotional ride. If you're an Oiler fan, buckle up. But tell you how good the Kings looked in those first two games, 2.5 games. Like, they were cooked. And then how bad the Kings looked in the last 4. Like, something weird.
Yeah, I think, after they were in such control over those first 2 games, and then to just careen out of, once it started going sideways, it was just unstoppable. Like you said, it's here we go again. This is the 4th year in a row that we're losing to these guys again. And that's what happens when you give life to a team that just fell 1 game short of going to winning the Cup the year before. Like, listen, I know a lot of people are coming down on Byfield too, and anyone who's ever played any level of hockey is like, really? You couldn't just shoot that high off the glass and get that out? But at the end of the day, that relationship between your video coach and your coach has to be ironclad. And I'm with you. I would love to know. I would love to inject some truth serum in Luc Robitaille, who would know exactly what happened that night, and Jim Hiller in the video coach, and find out who said what and who wanted what and what actually happened. But you're right. At the end of the day, it falls on the coach. So if you're willing to be the coach who falls on the sword for everyone else, even when they get it wrong, you better have a pretty strong relationship with that video coach, or you're changing video coaches in the off season. So, that would be another thing that wouldn't surprise me. If Hiller survives this, then maybe the video coach goes. And again, I don't really want to throw a video coach under the bus, but what happened that night, no sensible human being should have done that.
No.
Yeah.
There's senior hockey coaches. There's us that play pickup hockey and coach like kids. Like, what are you doing? What?
Yeah.
It's almost like the fix was in. But here we go. It's obvious that Calvin Pickard is the favorite to be Team Canada's goalie next year in Italy.
Oh my gosh. Hey, well, in that vein, is Marc-Andre Fleury going to go to the World Championships? And I know nobody cares about the World Championships, but I do kind of follow it, and I'm always intrigued by who goes. Like, they don't have a goalie right now. They're going to start the tournament in a week and a half, and they literally do not have a goalie right now. would Fleury, is that the way you want to end your career? Wouldn't that be an incredible bow if you went and won a gold medal? Or is there too much of a downside if you falter and that's the way it ends? Like, I don't know.
If you go and finish 5th, what happens if you go and finish 5th?
Right? He had the nice goodbye. Everybody in Minnesota said goodbye. You got a chance to say goodbye to 31 other rinks this year. It got to be a little much, to be honest. But at the end of it, maybe you want to tie it up with a world championship. I don't know. But to your point, like even if St. Louis loses tonight, I'm told from people that are kind of in the know in that at the World Championships, Binnington won't go to the World Championships. So, and nor am I suggesting that he needs to go and prove himself. I'm sure he thinks he's the starting goalie for next year's Olympics because of what he did at the Four Nations. But God help us all. There's got to be some other people we're going to challenge.
Who else? I'm trying to go through the Rolodex here.
Logan Thompson is the first guy that comes to mind, but he's been horrible for the last 3-4 weeks and dealing with injuries. So look, it's a problem we've got. It's been a discussion. We thought it was a problem, and then we won the Four Nations, and everybody just kind of glossed over it. But who's
playing in the world? Who's playing in the World Championships?
They've got a kid there right now whose name I have never heard of. He's probably playing for Eisenbären in Berlin or something. It's a stakeholder. Like they every year they take over. Like they took over Zane Parekh, for example, and there's no way he's going to play in the main tournament. But they want him to play a couple exhibition games, give him good experience and a free trip to Europe, and also kind of ingratiate themselves to him down the road when they're going to need him to go to the World Championships when he's a real player. That's the goalie they have right now too. Same sort of thing. But I'll be fascinated like you will, see who goes.
Because Montebo's hurt. Hey there, yeah. Prairie Land Rentals text line 936-6262. Who are Eric and I missing? Of teams that have probably been out that have a Canadian goaltender that could go to the World Championships. Yeah, they're probably digging up some, German Div 3. Those guys have been done for like a month and a half, 2 months too, because they start playing in like August, the European leagues. That'll be
real. I'm looking at all the teams that have been eliminated, and the only one with a Canadian goalie that you'd consider is Marc-Andre Fleury. So that's why I thought about that.
Where's Vladar from?
He's going to play for Czechia. Come on, you didn't think a guy named Vladar was a Canadian, did you?
Well, I thought maybe his dad was brought over, and you
never know.
Computer scientist at some point.
Hey, that's where we're at. We're so desperate. We're checking everybody's passport now, right? Trying to see if there's any chance we can have someone come and defect and become a Canadian goalie.
Like Peter Nedved. We need a Peter Nedved, but on the goaltending side. Winnipeg, sounds like Ehlers is playing. I don't know how closely you've been following this series. It's heavy hockey. It's big boy. It's heavy hockey. You got to think this one's going 7.
Oh, I hope so. I mean, I thought St. Louis was going to win this series based on just how the role that they came into the playoffs on. And also Winnipeg just hasn't been able to prove themselves right in the playoffs over the years. Same old story. But look, it's been a great series. You're right, it's heavy hockey, but I got looking at the bracket here, like show me a series in the West that wasn't heavy hockey. Like LA and Edmonton was probably the tamest of all of it in terms of heavy hockey. Vegas, Minnesota. Vegas is the heaviest team in the league, if you ask me, to play against. It's just an amazing juxtaposition, the teams in the West and how they play big boy hockey. And I'm not saying that the teams in the East are weaker. They just play a different brand. Look, they can run with the big boys clearly. And, I look at it right now. I'm going to ask you this question. I'm going to throw a question back at you. Like,
Curtis,
who did you pick to win the Stanley Cup 2 weeks ago? And if you could get a redo, who would you pick right now? Like, who looks the best? Because I think, like, I'll give you an example. My son was for sure Tampa's going to win the Stanley Cup. Well, okay, guess again. He goes, well, then for sure Colorado's going to win. Well, where are you at with those two teams that I just
Well, my kid. I think our boys are almost the same age. So my kids went together on their school pool, which they won 2 years ago because we went Vegas heavy. Last year they did okay. Then this year I said, "Hey guys, do whatever you want. You're old enough now. Grade 6, grade 8. You do whatever you want." I like Tampa Bay. I like some Winnipeg. I like LA because if Edmonton loses, everyone's going to be taking Edmonton. So both of them now are just giving it to me, just chirping me. Good call, Dad. Hey, good call on Tampa. Right on. Glad we went with LA. I'm like, but I liked Tampa. Totally took for granted what Florida has on me. To be honest with you, I thought LA could make a run if they were healthy. Vegas. See, you last year you and I were Dallas guys. That Dallas Colorado series, I can't figure that one out either. I don't know. Okay, so someone's gonna maybe go on to play Winnipeg, maybe St. Louis. Today I would go.
It's hard, I know, but
Florida, Carolina versus Vegas or Colorado. That's 4 teams. That's what a cop out.
It's hard. Like I went into the playoffs, and you got to pick somebody. I picked Vegas, and hey, they're still in it. They look pretty good in the first round.
Yeah.
They went. That series went longer than I thought it was going to go. But either way, if I could pick a new team right now, if I could do a redraw, I'd pick Florida. Like, and by quite a bit. Like I think they look the best in the first round of any team. Now, I don't know if you heard the laundry list of injuries that Tampa was dealing with throughout the series, and the number of injuries that, like Hedman had a broken foot. Obviously Hagel's got a concussion. He missed those games because of it. Sorelli had like a broken sternum or something. Like the list was incredible. Kucherov had hurt his wrist in February. Played all right despite it, but the list of injuries there was huge. Now, the list on every team is huge. In Montreal, it was pretty similar. But all I'm saying is I think Florida was the most dominant, and shame on us for forgetting just how good they were, and they added Marchand. So why would we not have gone back with them again this year? Who knows? And in 2 weeks, I'm going to ask you the same damn question, and we're going to have 3 more answers.
I bet what segment 1 with Luke Mullinder, I bet a good supper with appetizers, not a Kenny Banya soup kind of thing. We bet a nice supper on the Leafs Florida series. He's a heavy Leafs guy. So I feel there's some solace in the fact for me that I might win a nice meal out of this whole NHL playoffs thing. Because there's no way Florida's beating Toronto.
What?
I mean, there's no way Toronto's beating Florida.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Yeah, I'm absolutely with you on that. Look, I think the Leafs are a hell of a team. Don't get me wrong. With Stallars, they've got a new lease on life. But they're running up against, like I said, the team that looked the best in the first round, team that knows what it takes to win. The Leafs don't have a clue what it takes to win when the big boy hockey starts, and that's always been the knock on them. Good on them for getting through Ottawa. It took a little longer than it should have, but they still don't. Why would anyone believe that they can play big boy hockey all of a sudden? No chance.
There's and Florida's got pests. They got those They got 4 of them.
Yeah.
Okay. Last question. Why would anyone with experience want the Florida? Or why would anyone? Why am I saying Florida so much? Why would anyone with experience want the Vancouver Canucks coaching job? Seriously.
It was amazing talking to people in the hockey world in the last several days going, only talk would absolutely consider staying in this toxic, horrific situation when there are 7 other landing spots and all of them most of them are pretty darn good. Yeah. Cushy, with an upside, with great weather. Like, take your pick. You want nice weather, you want to go to Anaheim. You want to go history, tradition, you go back to your roots in Philadelphia, or you go coach at Madison Square Garden. Like, the list was unbelievable. I'm not sure a coach has ever had such an incredible smorgasbord of options And yet he took several days, and it scared a lot of people going, he's so damn loyal. And that's why everybody loves him, and that's why he's been so good, because he's so loyal. But surely wisdom's going to win out, and he's going to walk away. And sure enough, he did. He did it in a classy way. And I do think that when he comes back to Vancouver, people in Vancouver that are Vancouver fans right now, if I may speak on their behalf for the one time in my life, even they can admit right now, I wouldn't coach my team right now.
Yeah.
Like, I did talk to Canucks fans who were saying, I would, if Tuckett's an idiot if he comes back and coaches our team, who would want to be part of our team right now? They're so disgusted in Vancouver right now. So good on him for making the right decision. Yeah. We'll see if he makes the right decision moving forward.
He's got options. It'd be like the guy that wins, or girl that wins the Fly Anywhere WestJet flies certificate, and you go to Winnipeg. What the hell are you doing? It's similar.
I won one of those this year. Mark Spector has a golf tournament, and I go down there every year to support his tournament, and I get booed. Like, I'm in Edmonton territory, right? I get booed for just being there. And one year we won it. That did not help. So now I really get booed when I go there. And then this year, that's Vancouver and Edmonton booing me at the same time. And then last year I go and I win the bloody WestJet trip for two. Everybody there's got their tickets in their hand. And I've never been so disappointed to win something in my life. My buddy goes, "You won." And I said, "No, I don't want to go up there. They're going to crush me." So then the debate is, okay, I guess I got to donate it back. And my buddy looks me in the eye and he goes, "That thing could be worth like $8,000. If you do it right, that thing could be worth upwards of $8,000. If you do not donate that back." And I'm glad he said that, because I was gonna swallow hard and say, "Yeah, I donated back to the charity," but thank God he. So instead, I donated $1,000 because I figured, well, I'm still ahead. And they stopped booing for a couple minutes when I donated the money. That's all you got to do. You can buy your way out of booze sometimes.
Okay, you got to start. You got to text me some courses where you get privileges, and then we'll set up this golf twirl. I might have to bring my wife, so I'm gonna need some like wine tour thing places as well. We'll figure all this out. We're up against it here, Eric. Let's regroup on Monday with Maz.
Okay, we'll talk Monday. I'll get a list of great wineries in Calgary for you. Don't worry.
See ya, buddy.
See you, bud.
NHL insider Eric Francis for Southie Mainline Chrysler. Employee pricing right now at Southie Mainline Chrysler. First time in 100 years they've had discounts on Rams, Jeeps, everything you need. Worth the drive every time, guaranteed. Break time, it is a Sports Cage and 620 CKRM. We're about a half hour away from Jets and St. Louis, Game 6. Interesting to see that. Riders season single game tickets came on sale today. We talked about that. Check out sportscage.com. Also a couple of new O-linemen in the fold for the Riders as well. Speaking of Riders, when we come back, if you missed it, we're going to replay the interview with Plaza of Honor member, 2007 Grey Cup champ with our Riders, Kerry Joseph. It is a Sports Cage on the home of the Riders, 620 CKRM.